Hey guys, I'm sitting here with Alex from DL Horton, and today's video is going to be about DL Horton. We want to know where DL Horton came from. We want to know the type of house they build. We want to know the areas that they build in. And so with this video, we definitely want to help the buyers that are currently looking be more informed about a builder that's probably been around for a while and how they can basically take advantage of what DL Horton have to offer. With no further ado, here's Alex.
Thank you, Sedrick. Yeah, so D.R. Horton is the country's largest home builder, and we're actually in 36 different states, in several markets. Even in multiple markets in several states, even. So we're a very large builder, which that comes with a lot of resources and a lot of assets that we can pay back to, pay forward back to the homeowner, right? So you're coming to a D.R. Horton home knowing that you're getting 46 years of experience, right? An enormous amount of experience learning how to build our homes the best way possible, right? So D.R. Horton was founded in 1978 by Donald R. Horton, okay, who always went by DR. So that's where the name comes from, D.R. Horton. Okay. It's good to know. And we unfortunately we lost Mr. Horton last year. He was a great man and had piloted the ship all the way up to the end, pretty much. So it was great to have him so nearby and close to the company. But his mission and his goal, and that has really lived on too, is really to build the highest quality homes possible and make them as affordable as you can, right, for each home. And then in addition to that, we're trying to build a home for every stage in life, right? Gotcha. So you got your townhomes like we're sitting in now. These are twin townhomes. And then we also have, kind of your typical two-story, a little bit smaller footprint homes. We've got some what we call raised ranches, or commonly known as a three-level split. Maybe your mid-tier home. And then we go all the way up to our big full-size two-story homes in our Tradition series. It's going to be our really, really popular Whitneys and Jordans that are kind of ubiquitous with what D.R. Horton is.
Gotcha. And so, Alex, so what type of buyer is y'all guys really searching for? I know y'all probably got like at least an avatar or a specific person that y'all guys are reaching.
Yeah, so being such a large builder, right? I mean, just in the Twin Cities here alone, we have right now, let's see here, 33 different communities that we're building homes in, right? And so it is a very broad range. We really probably have a home for every stage throughout someone's life, right? And that's going to start with your starter home, right? I mean, the townhomes are a great entry point into home ownership. They're really affordable. You're not taking on the full maintenance, right? Because you're not doing that exterior maintenance, that yard work. So as a first-time home buyer, you don't have to buy a lawnmower, right? Or figure out how to maintain, when do I need to replace a roof or anything like that. But then we do also have homes in those mid-levels as well, just depending on what your budget is, what your price point is, and how much of a home you need.
So Alex, we're sitting in a D.L. Horton home, and obviously D.L. Horton's been around for a while. But also, it's a lot of competition out there, especially with like the other builders. And I'm quite sure you probably see a lot of other builders side by side with you guys.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Why would a potential buyer want a D.L. Horton home over the others?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it obviously everybody's personal motivation as to one house to the other is that's a very personal thing, and it's very unique to each individual. And what I see the most here compared to other builders, right? And I mean, the other builders are great. I mean, right? They're using similar lumber, same sheetrock, right? they're fine homes, but really, what I see here that makes D.R. Horton unique. And when I came out of resale real estate, I could have gone to any of the builders, but I specifically chose D.R. Horton because of its reputation, right? And not just its reputation as a big builder, but its quality of construction, right? So, our homes are, you can walk into them and you can know that the quality of construction in D.R. Horton is going to be par none, right? I mean, there's nothing else compares to it. So right off the bat, if it's got Mr. Horton's name on it, that it's going to be a super high quality home, right? Okay. But then in addition to that too, I mean, after 46, 47 years of building homes, we've learned there's no such thing as a truly perfect home. And so we have, in addition to that, we have the best warranty in the industry to go along with it, and we make it super easy to use.
So good question.
Yeah.
Tell me about that warranty.
Yeah, so in Minnesota, Deidra is our warranty department. She works out of Lakeville, right?
Sure.
So she's local, and that's the thing that's really key about that really sets our warranty department apart from other builders. You're not going to get onto a phone call with somebody, halfway across the country. You're making a claim and you're talking with folks that are here in the Twin Cities. Locally, they're dispatching local contractors to help you with anything that might come up. And again, we make it really easy to use.
So is it when people have issues, is it like one of these things they just make a phone call and they get it fixed right away?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, depending on the issue, right? We're gonna be out there, within like the next business day sometimes, right?
Oh wow!
And even within 24 hours, like if it's on the weekend, if it's so within certain parameters,
right?
We'll respond right away. And again, too, the vast majority of my homeowners are making very few claims because as they walk in, you get this great new homeowner orientation before you close. You get to walk through and check everything out. We're doing immense quality walks. I mean, our homes are really high quality homes. We're not having many issues with them anyways.
So the warranty is nice, but
it's
don't really have
to.
Net. Yeah, I was gonna say it's more of a safety net than it is like, hey, we got to worry about fixing on it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got it.
We know that D.O. Horton is more of a spec builder.
Correct.
And I'm assuming that that's how D.O. Horton is able to save so much money to the consumer, because a lot of times, with certain other builders, they want to charge you for the lot. They want to charge you for a lot of the other things.
Yeah.
D.O. Horton is basically just building a house. You just pick the house you want and just move in.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we do in our homes, right, is we're trying to put into every home everything that people are asking for. So we don't have customizations or options. We're very streamlined, and that helps us to keep the quality high and the cost low, and get people into really affordable homes. But the contrast is you're walking into a home that has everything kind of pre-planned for it, right? So it's a worry-free, hassle-free package deal. And then the other component to that too is you're seeing very even pricing throughout the neighborhood. So you can consistently and reliably know that your home's going to appreciate over time pretty consistently. Whereas if you go into some neighborhoods and one home's got all the customizations in it, it's much higher price than one, maybe you buy that one and then your neighbor, they buy a lot that's the lowest lot in the neighborhood and they don't put any of the features into it. Now all of a sudden that's undercutting your equity.
Because it can be a drastic change in price points.
Yeah. So you'll see a really even appreciation throughout our neighborhoods.
Right. And so, that's actually a good point, because sometimes when you're trying to build a home, the last thing you want to have happen is you sitting there dealing with a lot of details.
Right.
Yeah. Some people just want to just move their furniture in.
And that's exactly what's going on here, right? Is you can walk in and you can see in our model home like we're sitting in now, the asking price for this version of the home out on the market, it looks just like this, right? So we're not showing our model with more features. You don't have to spend an extra $20,000 or $30,000 to get this. This is actually what it is, right?
Right.
And so you can know when you walk in, hey, this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to feel like. And it does take away that stress. And then in addition to that too, because of that, we have a lot of quick move-in options. We can move in even if you're doing a mortgage in as little as 4 weeks sometimes, right? Which is really helpful, especially if you're coming up against a lease. Right. Or you have a sale that you need to match the closing date on. And again, we're really trying to make it as stress-free as possible. And I think we said too, we obviously will work within your timeline, within reason. So.
Right. And so with D.O. Horton, sorry, repeat this.
You're good. Yeah.
So with D.O. Horton, every month y'all guys have a traditional plan to push out a certain rate, and maybe some discounts on certain properties and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So we don't always do that, right? But oftentimes our team is putting together some sort of a promotion or incentive. Yep. And so what I would say to you guys is make sure you get in touch with Sedrick, because I tell him regularly, hey, this is what they came out with this month. And it does change. Sometimes it changes in the middle of the month. And so it's one of those things where I always like to, operate in the realm of certainty, right? What I know today, this is what it is.
Right.
So Sedrick's, he's got the red phone to my desk, so to speak. So if you guys are curious about what the promotion is, if there's an incentive, you got any discounts on anything, he's your go-to right now.
Right. And so, because that's big, because sometimes, if y'all guys are looking to either push a certain product or sell more, sell all over neighborhood, y'all guys got y'all discount hat on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that definitely does happen sometimes. So if we have a specific neighborhood that maybe there's one or two houses left in that community, sometimes you will see, prices coming lower because frankly, we don't want to be spending too much time in the neighborhood anymore. It's time to close it out. So
time to close it out. And I think that's a good thing, because that'll definitely be a pro for a lot of folks because, what I'm hearing is obviously y'all guys will be willing to do some type of discounts. Y'all will be, basically selling houses as they are at all the levels.
Right.
So it's not like you get this one house and it has everything in it, and then the neighbor's house have half the commodities.
Exactly. Yep.
And so that's all like a peace of mind for a lot of folks. I think that D.R. Horton does give you a big peace of mind.
Absolutely.
As far as being a consumer and looking at all of these houses, and sometimes this can get overwhelming, and sometimes is this a lot of things to think about?
Right.
Versus you just move your furniture in because the paint is already chosen. The carpet is chosen and all that stuff. So it just gives you that peace of mind just moving your furniture in.
Absolutely.
So last thing, talking to the consumer out there that is starting their journey on the process of buying a new construction home.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how easy this process is with D.L. Horton?
Yeah.
Horton, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the process is super easy, right? I mean, we have model homes that are staged, with parking lots up front to make it what I call kind of a hassle-free or a worry-free buying process, right? So you're not out touring, a dozen different cities and spending all day. You can come to one spot, you can see what the options are, you can talk through that, you can see different layouts, and then basically from there, once you make your decision, it's as simple as sitting down. I like to go through, I want everybody to be super comfortable and confident with the whole process. So I like to go through all the documentation, face to face, section by section, make sure everything is super clear for everybody. And that's about it, right? I mean, it's that simple, right? So we can sign some documents and then we're moving forward. Obviously, between that day and closing day, there might be a little bit of extra homework to do, but it's a pretty straightforward, pretty easy process. You're not like in resale, you're not putting in an offer and then waiting and wondering if you're gonna hear back, right? You're not competing against other people. Right off the bat, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna sit down with you and say, hey, I talked to the construction supervisor before you came out today. I know that home is gonna be ready on this day, so we're gonna want to close within a week or 2 weeks or whatever from there. Again, working within your timeline as much as is reasonable as well. And you know exactly what the price is going to be. I'll probably have my mortgage officer that I partner with. I have him on speed dial, right? So if you want to know, hey, this is what my monthly payment's going to be, we'll get him on the phone right there too. Again, we try to make everything as clear and straightforward and as easy as possible. So from that day that you say, hey, I want that house, and we take it off the market, literally until move-in day, everything is as clear as possible, and you can rest easy at night knowing when I get to the closing table and I actually buy my house and they give me the keys, I know exactly what to expect.
Absolutely. I like that. And also, so for those out there that's, looking to potentially sell a house. So we talked about the people that could be potentially coming from either a living situation or an apartment or something along those lines. Yeah. But what happens to those folks that, hey, they got a house to sell now? Yep. How easy can that be? Yeah. So we live in the real world, right? So we understand that can be a really complicated process. But we also understand that a lot of people are coming from a different community, right? They're buying a home or they already own a home and they have to sell that before they can move in. A lot of builders have gone away from it. They have just, and my understanding is they've just gone away from it simply because they don't want to deal with the hassle. Right. Right. It can be a potential problem. Right. So instead, we make sure we partner with trusted agents like Sedrick, right? Who we can be confident that when you are getting ready to list their house,
that it's going to get on the market, it's going to sell quickly, right? And we're going to partner with you on that. We're going to work. Again, we live in the real world. We're going to work with you to line up those closing dates. Obviously, all of this stuff is within reason, but we're going to work together to make sure that you're getting into the right home within a reasonable timeline and matching that up. So,
and I think that's really key too, because like you said, certain builders, they don't give you that benefit of the doubt of selling. You almost have to sell your home first,
right,
then get to the new construction home the house you built.
Correct.
And oftentimes, if you have the finances, you can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Which would be an option. But I guess from what you're saying is that y'all guys are giving these people the option to be able to make a contingent offer.
Absolutely.
And get into a nice home like this one.
I wish we were all in the situation where we could, buy a house non-contingent, right? And have it. But, very few people are in that position. And that's just the reality of life today, right?
Yeah, it's probably like maybe less than 10%. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. We're probably way less than that, right?
Yeah. So, and I think that's a big thing, too, for those that's listening, is that if you having these type of struggles and, you have a lot of things going on and you need to get into a house fast, D.R. Horton can be that spot.
Absolutely.
If you guys are looking to potentially sell a house to get to a bigger house, because of whatever, D.R. Horton can help you with that.
Yep.
Last question, I guess
Sure.
one of the last questions, with the contingencies,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously certain builders want you to put, a certain duration of money down, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's 5% earnest money or 10% earnest money or a good portion of the build. Can you speak to what y'all guys offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use the terms earnest money and construction deposit interchangeably.
Okay.
There's subtle differences, right? But really, they essentially mean the same thing at D.R. Horton. And so for our townhomes, our standard amount is $7,500. And for our single family homes, our standard earnest money deposit is going to be $10,000.
Okay.
Generally speaking, that's the norm, right? And I would always say if that's the thing that's hanging you up, let's at least have a conversation about it, because I don't want that to be the
determining factor.
The determining factor, right? But again, that is our norm, and we are looking for that pretty much as much as possible.
That's actually pretty cheap from what I heard.
Right. It is actually, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, most new construction homes, they want you to put 5% down to the sales price, or greater, or depending on the lot and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So, I think we have a clear picture about D.R. Horton.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to add to this pile that we have?
Sure. Yeah. So let's see. Like going back a step, we were talking about people who are selling contingent. That's one end of the spectrum. If you already have a home, you've been established for a little bit longer. But even on the other end of that, we do see a lot of buyers, first-time home buyers, and even not first-time home buyers who are maybe having some credit trouble, or they're not sure if they can get qualified for a home or not. Okay. They want to buy a house. They want to get a move-up home or whatever the case may be, and they just aren't in a position to do that financially. So D.R. Horton does have a program called the Homebuyers Club, which is a full-service credit concierge program. So this is through our mortgage company, that our affiliate mortgage company, and it's not just a call with a loan officer who says, well, yeah, if you pay off that credit card, or that'll boost your rate, and you're going to want to make sure you get these payments in on time for the next 12 months, and then that'll help your interest rate go up. This is a literal full service program. So they'll actually call creditors and renegotiate rates with you. They'll renegotiate, buy downs and things like that, help you refinance some of those debt to consolidate it, right, to get your credit score up. We've actually seen people in as little as 3 months boost their credit score an enormous amount. So this is a great program for buyers, again, who aren't able to qualify to get that credit score up to a level that is where you will qualify for a mortgage. But I've also seen it for folks who were thinking, hey, we're going to come in and we're going to be able to get maybe an FHA loan or whatever, and then they're able to actually boost their credit score up enough where they're getting even better rates.
Oh wow!
Right. So it's a thing, and again, it's a free, no obligation. You're not contracted into buying a D.R. Horton home. Yeah. It's just a service that we provide because, again, we live in the real world and we know that this is a spot that a lot of people are in. And frankly, obviously our hope is you come back and you buy one of our great houses too.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, you're not obligated to do so. So,
well, I think that that's big because you think of how many people out there that need credit help.
Yes.
And they probably have decent jobs.
Yep.
And sometimes the credit is probably the hindrance here.
Right.
And so I'm glad y'all guys are doing that.
Yeah, it's something that I see and I experience on occasion, and I always recommend it to people because I mean that can be life changing.
Absolutely,
right? So.
Absolutely. So Alex, I know that D.R. Horton is a spec builder.
Correct.
Now,
yeah.
I know that it's a little bit of customization with D.R. Horton. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so we do have a to-be-built option in some of our neighborhoods.
Okay.
And basically what that looks like is you can, but again, we're not a custom home builder, right?
Right.
And what I always tell folks too, right, is a builder's most expensive items are customizations and change orders, right? So that's part of the reason why we've gone away from that is because what it does is it ends up just inflating the cost of the home, right? At the end of the day. So, but we do have options for you, and what you could do is in some of our neighborhoods, you can go in and you can pick out a lot, and then what we say is, okay, well that lot, based off the size of the lot, the setbacks, where it's at in the community, these are the layouts that would qualify for that, and then within those layouts, here's your interior package, here's your exterior package, so you can pick, like we're sitting in a home with our stone gray, Express Select interior package. You can pick this package and have that into the home, or you could pick the Harbor Gray one. Right?
So the colors and the carpets and all that stuff. It doesn't matter which home it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So our team of designers have already gone in and kind of pre-selected everything that goes best together.
Gotcha.
So instead of like in a traditional custom builder, you're going to go through and you're going to pick out the cabinet configuration. You're going to pick out the cabinet color. You're going to pick out what kind of hardware goes on there. You're going to pick out, and then you got to go through and pick out, well, does the flooring match that, right? The counters, and then you're going to pick out the trim and all this stuff, the hardware, right, for the doors. And instead, our designers they've said, okay, well, we know that with this color cabinetry and flooring, these colors are going to match best with that. So they kind of put that package together for you and say, hey, here's a handful of options. But you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty detail.
Even when you're saying it, it's already sounding exhausting. Just thinking
exactly,
about it.
Yeah. So instead you can say, okay, well, I want this layout and I really like this color. We're going to do that one. And you can just kind of piece it together. It's much more like building a Lego set than making a very detailed
like
project.
Building a puzzle,
putting a puzzle together as opposed to, piecemeal.
Right. And so last question for you is, or at least about that, is about the basements.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but
sure.
Does D.R. Horton give you the option to complete the basement is a question.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So generally speaking, if a home, like a spec home, to use the industry jargon, or a home that's already been built and is now on the market, has a basement, you typically will have the option to finish that basement. We will usually need about 90 to 120 days. And then you have the option to finish just the rec room or to do the bedroom, bathroom, and rec room. Okay. Right? So there are a couple of choices there for you then as well.
Got you. So you can a little customization.
A little bit of customization, yeah.
Okay, and then so, with that being said, so you can, if you have enough time, you can possibly complete the whole house before you even move in.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's pretty common. When folks finish the basement with us, they're moving into a home that's
what I was thinking.
Complete. Yeah.
And so like, just for the consumers out there to understand. So like, let's say if they want this house, it doesn't have a basement, they put an offer in, they say, okay, we want this subject to the basement getting finished.
Yep.
I'm assuming that if it's 90 days, they're probably closing in the 90 days later.
Right.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those things where, obviously there's some other details that are going to go into it, but generally speaking, within that 90 to 120 day window, we're usually going to have that basement finished out for you.
Got you. So just enough heads up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got it.
So there you have it, guys. Alex gave us everything we need to know about D.R. Horton. It's probably some things that people are sleeping on with this builder. I know that they build great products because I'm sitting in one of the homes now. Yeah. And hey, if it makes it easier on you, easy on life, and you don't have to think about all of those unnecessary things to think about, you can just move your furniture in. I think this is the guys to choose from.
Absolutely. Sedrick, thanks so much. Always a pleasure to have you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
If you like these type of videos, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you're living in the Twin Cities area or planning on moving here, and you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, please DM us or click the Candidly link below to schedule a one-on-one consultation. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Thanks for watching.